Boxing truth here. Timothy the Desert Storm Bradley just re-signed with Top Rank for a couple of more years. Of course, the PBC fanboys are gonna hate. They're gonna say, why didn't he sign with Uncle Al? But Bradley has made millions of dollars with Top Rank. He's gotten the type of fights that have taken him to a different stratosphere, that have gotten him the respect from the boxing world. He's been in real fights. He hasn't really been protected. And he's gotten more recognition than any of Haymon's fighters at around the welterweight division. So now, Top Rank's trying to see what's next for Bradley. What's his next move? Talking maybe a fight later this year or early next year, depending on what's out there for Bradley's next fight. And of course, a Cotto fight was mentioned. Bradley would be a suitable opponent for Cotto. Be a good fight for both guys. I'm not sure if Bradley's the biggest name available for Cotto's next fight for a proposed December date. But it'd be an interesting fight. I think Bradley could win. It's a winnable fight for him. But if the Cotto fight is not available, or if it can't be made for whatever reason, I would like to see Bradley fight one of the protected boxing chump Al Haymon has in the welterweight division. Now, of course, I'll see it when I believe it. If Bob Arum and Haymon can put a fight together featuring their clients. However, they say it's possible. And I would like to see Bradley fight one of these PBC guys like Broner or a Garcia, a Keith Thurman, even a Sean Porter. I mean, because Timothy Bradley will be the ultimate test for one of these guys on the PBC. I mean, a Bradley fight will be the most difficult fight in their respective careers, like a Thurman, Porter, Broner, Garcia. I mean, who was those guys' best wins to date? It's not that very impressive. They fought very soft opposition for quite some time until, in Thurman's case, very recently, he finally fought a solid fighter in Sean Porter, but he's not a top fighter. I wouldn't even consider him a top 5 welterweight. He's not pound for pound level. I mean, what's Porter's best win? Devin Alexander. At least he was a champion when he beat him, but it's not a win that's looking too much these days. Danny Garcia hasn't had a top win in a long time. He hasn't really had a good win in a long time. He's been feasting on faded former world champions at the division, like a Paul Malignaggi. Recycled fighters like a Robert Guerrero. Now he might fight Andre Berto, who's Robert Guerrero leftovers, a guy he just beat. So not much of an impressive run at welterweight so far for Danny Garcia. Keith Thurman only has the win over Porter and the win over Diego Chavez, when very early in both guys' careers. Adrian Broner, I mean, what's his best win? That's the thing. Timothy Bradley will answer a lot of questions concerning a lot of these PBC guys, these protected boxing chumps. I mean, do we really know if any of these guys are real? They've had a lot of fights, but do we know if any of them are real? None of these guys are considered pound for pound or at the elite level. And Timothy Bradley will be by far the best opponent in each of these guys' careers. I mean, I'm not even sure if these guys can even handle a Tim Bradley. I mean, I know Adrian Broner's not real. I know he's a hype job. But I still would like to see Bradley fight Broner because I think Bradley would beat the shit out of Broner. But I want to see it. I want to see if Broner can handle a fighter as seasoned as Bradley. But Bradley just might be too experienced for Broner. And he will end up getting his ass whooped. Garcia will be interesting. At least he's undefeated, more confident. But he's been fighting a lot of hand-picked opposition lately. And Thurman, inactivity, now he might not fight for the rest of the year. So the only realistic option from those three guys, really, since Garcia's most likely has a fight set up, Thurman may take the rest of the year off. I'm hearing Porter may take the rest of the year off. So the only realistic option is Broner, since he's fresh out of jail and is now looking for a fight, perhaps a return in sometime in October. So why not an Adrian Broner, Timothy Bradley fight? I mean, that's a makeable fight. I mean, if Haymon and Arum can somehow work out a deal, I'm sure some fans will be interested. And it's a fight that's good for both guys. It could get Broner back at the top of the welterweight division. But it doesn't seem like it's in the cards. It just seemed like Haymon's not willing to risk any of his welterweights to top-ranked fighters, because he pretty much has plans lined up for all of them and doesn't feature any top-ranked guys in the near future, at least. Haymon already has Garcia's plan set up. He already has Thurman's plan set up, and that's to fight each other between Garcia and Thurman sometime next year. He already has a plan set up for Adrian Broner. First, he's going to fight another hand-picked soft-touch opponent for his return later this year, and then possibly fight Robert Guerrero if Guerrero gets past his next assignment in a fight later this month. So that's the plan for Broner, but who gives a shit about Broner fighting Robert Guerrero? Really? How many times have Robert Guerrero needs to be recycled for these Haymon fighters? Guerrero's become a stepping stone, a guy for some of Haymon's favorites in his stable to take on in order to get a win and name on their resume. But Robert Guerrero is so he's faded, he's past it, and he has done jack shit in the welterweight division. I mean, we don't need to see Robert Guerrero get recycled for these Haymon clients. I mean, what's next if he loses to Broner? Errol Spence gets a shot at him? So that's the thing, man. A lot of these Haymon guys, a lot of PBC fanboys get excited about these guys, and then you look at their resumes. They haven't done much. They don't get pound for pound recognition for a reason. They mostly fight hand-picked opposition. I mean, why should we get all that much excited about Errol Spence when all he done is knock out an Algeria who doesn't bring much power to the table, especially in the welterweight division? Was coming off a couple of defeats as well. What's Adrian Broner's best win? A life and death struggle with Paulie Malignaggi? Timothy Bradley will be the ultimate test for these guys. And if they can beat him, then it will prove that maybe that they are world class, that they are top level. But Bradley would be live against any of these guys. Porter, Thurman, Garcia. I think he beats the shit out of Broner. I mean, can these guys even handle a Jesse Vargas? I think Vargas is pretty much even money with Thurman and Garcia, and possibly will be a slight favorite over Broner. Because these guys in the top rank stable, Vargas and Bradley, they fought stiffer competition. They've been developed a lot better. And they're a lot more battle tested. The Haymon guys just mostly been feasting on hand-picked opposition. Haven't gotten the type of learning fights to get better, to be an improved fighter. But I would like to see Bradley take on one of these Haymon guys, just to show me if they're real, to see where they're at in their careers, and has their development from being with Haymon, has it plateaued them? Has it, made them step back as fighters with not the type of developing that could really a fighter could benefit from? But I believe when I see it, I doubt Bradley will end up fighting one of the PBC guys. Just a little too seasoned, too dangerous. May end up taking an O from a Garcia or Thurman. I'm not saying Thurman and Garcia can't beat Bradley, but it'd be pretty much an even fight, considering Bradley's resume is much superior to both guys. I mean, Bradley's best win is better than anything Garcia, Thurman, Porter have done, Broner. I mean, Bradley clearly outpointed and outboxed Juan Manuel Marquez, who was pretty much juiced up and coming off the great knockout win over Pacquiao. And Bradley was able to put in the performance of his lifetime, coming off the devastating, damaging fight, really tough win he had over Provodnikov. Was going through some physical issues following that fight, and was able to have a great performance the very next fight against Marquez, where he was being counted out, but was able to get a clear-cut win over a pound-for-pound level fighter. Bradley's resume speaks for itself. He's made a good business decision. He's earned millions of dollars. He's earned respect from the boxing world. He has official wins over Hall of Famers. He makes a case for perhaps being a Hall of Famer, especially if he could get a win over Miguel Cotto, or maybe win another world title. But it seems like Bradley's not getting the respect from the PBC fanboys. Why? Because he's a top-ranked fighter? Because he signed with Bob Arum and didn't sign with Al Haymon? Because he gets a little more respect compared to some other fighters in Haymon's stable? Because he actually is in real fights, is actually willing and daring to be great, unlike some of other Al Haymon's fighters who pretty much elect to just choose to have Al Haymon choose their path, to guide them, to have him guide their careers, and it hasn't really turned out great. Haymon just makes fights that he wants to make, not really what fans want to see. He's made some good fights concerning other clients, but when it comes to his welterweight stable, Spence, Thurman, Broner, Porter, and now Garcia's for his past few fights, he hasn't really been guiding them to recognition or respect from the boxing world. It took Thurman and Porter forever to fight each other, and now they're not going to fight possibly for the rest of the year. Garcia's fighting recycled opponents. Broner's going to fight more hand-picked opponents, and may end up fighting Robert Guerrero in a fight nobody really cares about. Where are these Haymon welterweights going? Are they finally going to fight someone considered elite or at the top of the division. Can these guys even handle a Timothy Bradley? I like to see it, but most likely won't happen. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.